Have you ever found yourself caught in a situation where nothing seems to make sense? The signals are confusing, the actions feel deliberate, and you're left questioning what's really going on. Let me make something clear. Your time and energy are far too valuable to waste on unnecessary confusion. As a man who knows his worth, chasing isn't your job. Your focus should be on building a life so strong and confident that it naturally attracts what aligns with your value. Today, I'm going to help you handle those moments where games and mind tricks try to pull you off track. Here's the key. The moment you get pulled into someone else's strategy, you lose the upper hand. But when you maintain your composure, take control of the situation, and set clear expectations, you turn things around completely. By the end of this conversation, you'll understand how to identify and respond to manipulative behaviors, establish healthy boundaries without hesitation, and command respect by leading with confidence. The best part, you'll either get the respect you deserve or gracefully walk away without looking back. The power is in your hands. Don't miss this opportunity to save yourself years of frustration and wasted effort. Let's get started. Women aren't inherently manipulative. This kind of behavior is usually learned and often stems from deeper insecurities or a desire for control. Sometimes the games they play are a way to test your reactions, to see if you'll stick around, or even to create a sense of power in the relationship. The first step to handling these situations is understanding that their actions aren't necessarily about you. They're often a reflection of their own internal struggles. By recognizing this, you can stop taking their behavior personally and approach the situation with clarity and confidence. The key to dealing with these games is awareness. You can't address what you don't notice. Pay attention to patterns in their behavior. For instance, they might say one thing but do the opposite. Maybe they make plans with you and then cancel at the last minute, expecting you to chase them. Or perhaps they give you just enough attention to keep you interested, only to pull back to see how you'll respond. These actions aren't random, they're deliberate attempts to test your patience or gauge your interest. The worst way to handle this is to let your emotions take over. If you react with anger, frustration, or desperation, you're giving them exactly what they want: control over your emotions. Instead, take a step back, stay composed, and don't let their actions shake your confidence. When you remain calm and collected, you immediately take away the power behind their games. They'll realize that their behavior isn't affecting you the way they hoped. The next step is to clearly communicate your expectations. When addressing the situation, keep it respectful but firm. For example, you might say something like, "I value honesty and straightforward communication. If you're not able to be consistent or genuine, that's okay, but I'd prefer not to waste either of our time." This isn't an ultimatum, it's a statement of your personal boundaries and standards. By setting clear boundaries, you establish yourself as someone who values their time, energy, and self-respect. You're not playing games and you're not here to participate in theirs. If they can't meet your standard, you're prepared to walk away, and that confidence is incredibly powerful. It shows that you're in control of your emotions and your life. Ultimately, the goal is not to fight their games, but to rise above them. By focusing on staying calm, recognizing their behavior for what it is, and holding firm to your values, you'll find yourself in a position of strength. Whether they step up and meet your standards or not, you'll come out on top because you've stayed true to yourself. When it comes to relationships, respect and self-worth should always be non-negotiable. When a woman realizes that you're not willing to engage in games or emotional manipulation, it completely shifts the dynamic. She will either step up, rise to your level, and meet your expectations, or she'll choose to step away. But in either case, you win because you've stayed true to your standards and maintained your self-respect. The key is not to get caught up in the distraction of emotional games, but to remain focused on your own goals, values, and well-being. If a woman continues to test your boundaries even after you've made them clear, then it's time to walk away. A strong man doesn't beg for attention or accept disrespect. Remember, you are the prize, not a contestant in a game. Emotional manipulation and mind games are just distractions, nothing more. And a man who is focused on his own personal growth, ambitions and goals simply doesn't have the time or energy to waste on such distractions. The key to handling these emotional games is staying calm, establishing clear boundaries and, if needed, walking away without hesitation. The respect that you command comes from the standards you uphold. Now here's the challenge. The next time you sense manipulation or notice someone playing games with you, stop and remember your worth. Don't react impulsively. Don't let your emotions take over. Instead, take a step back, evaluate the situation, and respond with clarity and confidence. Watch how quickly the power dynamic shifts when you don't allow yourself to be dragged into the emotional roller coaster. Understanding the psychology behind emotional manipulation can significantly improve your ability to handle these situations with confidence and poise. Often, a woman's behavior, such as playing games, comes from deeper emotional motivations, like insecurity or a need to feel in control. At the heart of these games is usually a fear of vulnerability or the desire to protect herself emotionally. While this doesn't justify manipulative behavior, understanding that it's more about her internal struggles than about you can help you remain unaffected. For some women, emotional games are a way to test boundaries or measure your interest and commitment. It could look like purposely delaying responses to messages, making plans but cancelling them last minute, or withholding affection to see how you'll react. This is not necessarily about ill intentions. It's often a defense mechanism. They might be asking themselves, "Do you value me enough to stick around, or are you just going to leave?" It's not a direct question, but these games are designed to get an answer, even if indirectly. Recognizing this can help you avoid reacting emotionally and instead respond with clarity. Sometimes these games stem from a desire to establish dominance or control in the relationship. Women may shift between being very attentive and then pulling back, seeing how much they can push before you start setting boundaries. They're testing how much power they have over you. If you let this behavior slide, it becomes about control and not about building a healthy relationship. The more you engage in this cycle, the more likely it is that you'll be stuck in a tug-of-war over emotional control. Another important factor to consider is that emotional games often reveal how a woman sees herself. If she has low self-esteem or has been hurt in the past, these tactics are often a way of self-protection. By playing hard to get or sending mixed signals, she might feel like she is keeping herself safe from potential rejection or emotional harm. She's not necessarily trying to hurt you, but trying to avoid feeling vulnerable. However, this type of behavior doesn't build a strong foundation for a relationship and often ends up causing frustration and confusion. This understanding doesn't mean you should tolerate such behavior. It means you now have the awareness to approach these situations calmly and assertively. Once you recognize that her actions are more about her insecurities than about you, it becomes easier to avoid falling into the trap of reacting or trying to fix the situation. Your job isn't to solve her internal conflicts, but to decide whether or not this dynamic aligns with the respect and clarity you deserve in a relationship. Once you make that distinction, you're empowered to take control and respond with confidence. Respect is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. If you engage in the emotional games, you risk losing your own value. The more you play along with her tests, the more you begin to diminish your self-worth. Women often test boundaries to see what they can get away with, either consciously or subconsciously. If you don't set boundaries and communicate them clearly, you're allowing her to dictate the pace and direction of the relationship. You give her permission to continue manipulating or testing you. Setting boundaries doesn't mean being harsh or disrespectful. It means calmly and clearly expressing your expectations. If she cancels plans without a good reason, for example, you don't need to get angry or make passive-aggressive comments. Instead, you could say something like, "I value my time and I need the same respect from you." If you can't commit, then maybe it's best we don't waste each other's energy. It's about showing that you won't settle for less than mutual respect and clear communication. The most important part of setting boundaries is consistency. If you set expectations but don't enforce them, you lose your credibility. Women respect men who stand firm in their principles even if it risks the relationship. A man who knows his worth doesn't need to beg for attention or tolerate disrespect. By staying true to your standards, you send a strong message. You're not here to play games because you operate on a higher level. Respect isn't something you ask for, it's something you command. When you set the tone and hold yourself to your own standards, you ensure that people treat you accordingly. Respect is crucial in any relationship, and when she sees that you are unwavering in your standards, she will either meet those expectations or choose to walk away. It's important to realize that respect is a two-way street. If you treat her with dignity and fairness, she's more likely to reciprocate in the same way. Emotional games often come from a lack of trust or clarity, but by communicating openly and setting a tone of mutual respect, you can eliminate the need for games altogether. If she continues to push boundaries or engages in manipulative behavior despite your efforts, it's a clear sign that she doesn't value the relationship as much as you do. At this point, the most respectful thing for you to do is to walk away. Respect isn't something you can compromise on. It's the foundation of any healthy relationship, and without it, no amount of effort or patience will fix things. Women who play emotional games are often testing if you value yourself enough to demand better treatment. One of the most powerful skills you can develop is the ability to recognize these games. While the signs of manipulation might seem subtle, if you pay attention, they can reveal a lot about her intentions or mindset. Recognizing these patterns isn't about overthinking or being paranoid. It's about noticing the signs early so that you don't get caught up in unnecessary drama. One of the most common behaviors is inconsistency. She might be very affectionate one moment, then distant and aloof the next. You might initially think she's just busy or distracted, but over time you'll start to see a pattern. This push and pull dynamic is often used to keep you off balance and make you invest more energy into figuring out what's going on. If you're constantly questioning her behavior or feel like you're chasing after her approval, it's a red flag that emotional games are in play. Another sign to watch for is when her words don't match her actions. She might say she's interested, but her behavior says otherwise. For instance, she might agree to meet up, then cancel without rescheduling, or she might leave long gaps between messages that feel deliberate rather than accidental. These mixed signals are often tests to see how you'll respond. If you chase harder or try to win her attention, you're falling right into her trap. Observing how she interacts with others can also give you insight. If she's constantly flirting or seeking validation from other people, it could mean she's more focused on her own need for attention than on building a genuine connection with you. Similarly, if she seems to create unnecessary tension or stir up conflict, these behaviors reveal what's important to her and how she views the relationship. When you set boundaries, pay attention to how she reacts. A woman who is playing games might become defensive, dismissive, or try to blame you for overreacting when you call her out on her behavior. She may even downplay her actions. This is a sign that she's not used to being held accountable for her actions. On the other hand, someone who is genuine will respect your boundaries and engage in an honest conversation. Recognizing these differences will help you decide whether the relationship is worth continuing or if it's time to move on. The key to handling these emotional games is observation. By noticing these behaviors early on, you can avoid getting emotionally tangled in a situation that doesn't serve you. It gives you the power to act intentionally, not impulsively, and helps you stay in control of the situation. Setting clear boundaries is one of the most important things you can do when dealing with emotional games. Boundaries aren't about controlling someone else's behavior. They are about showing that you respect yourself enough to not tolerate being treated poorly. Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful things you can do when dealing with emotional games. When a woman plays games, she may be testing how much she can influence you or how far she can push your limits. If you don't clearly define and enforce your boundaries, you're allowing her to continue her behavior without consequences. However, when you set clear expectations and stick to them, you send a strong message that you value yourself and won't accept unhealthy dynamics. The key to setting boundaries is to approach the conversation with calmness and clarity. Emotional games thrive on confusion, so being direct is essential. For example, if she frequently cancels plans without notice, you can say something like, "I value reliability in relationships. If you can't commit to plans, let's not make them." This is not about being harsh or confrontational, but about respectfully expressing your standards. You're not asking for permission, you're simply stating what you expect. It's also crucial to follow through with your boundaries. If you say you won't tolerate certain behaviors, but don't act when they happen, you weaken your position. Consistency is key. It shows that you mean what you say. For instance, if she continues to test your patience after you've addressed the issue, you must be prepared to step back or walk away. This isn't about punishing her, it's about protecting your peace and self-respect. Boundaries also help you maintain emotional balance. When you have limits in place, you can operate with confidence and clarity. You won't be reacting to her games or second-guessing her intentions. Instead, you will stand firm on your values and priorities. This shift not only empowers you, but it also forces her to re-evaluate her behavior. A woman who truly values you will respect your boundaries and adjust her behavior accordingly. On the other hand, if she refuses to meet your standards, you'll have a clearer understanding of her true intentions, making it easier to decide what to do next. Maintaining emotional composure gives you the ability to assess the situation clearly. It allows you to differentiate between whether her behavior is a genuine expression of interest, confusion, or if it's an intentional attempt to manipulate. When you're calm, you're able to make this distinction without reacting impulsively. Emotional composure also sets the tone for how the interaction unfolds. Emotional games often thrive in confusion and chaos, but your calm presence creates an environment where these games lose their effectiveness. When she realizes that her attempts to rattle you aren't having the desired effect, she may reconsider her approach. This shift can lead to two outcomes. Either she communicates more honestly, or she disengages from playing games altogether. Either way, you win because it aligns with your goal of creating a relationship based on mutual respect, not manipulation. Your calmness also reflects self-confidence. When you remain composed, you show that your worth isn't dependent on her validation or approval. You're not playing her game because you have nothing to prove. This quiet confidence is appealing and often encourages her to drop any pretenses and engage with you more authentically. Women are naturally attracted to men who have control over their emotions because it signals strength and maturity, qualities that are rare and valuable. Maintaining composure isn't about pretending to be indifferent or emotionless. It's about knowing your value and refusing to let anyone disrupt your peace. This is a skill that not only helps you handle emotional games, but also strengthens all aspects of your life and relationships. By staying calm in the face of manipulation, you reinforce your own power and make it clear that you operate on a higher level that demands respect. Walking away from a situation is the ultimate demonstration of self-respect and strength. When dealing with someone who plays games, walking away isn't about giving up or showing weakness. It's a strong statement that you value your peace and dignity above all else. When the dynamic shifts from genuine connection to manipulation, staying involved only drains your energy and reduces your worth. By choosing to walk away, you send a powerful message. You won't participate in a situation that doesn't honor who you are or what you deserve. Walking away is often misunderstood as a sign of weakness, but in reality, it is one of the most empowering choices you can make. It takes courage to recognize when something is no longer serving you, and even more courage to act on it. Emotional games rely on the assumption that you'll stick around no matter what. But when you walk away, you remove the power those games once held over you. The focus then shifts back to your own needs and priorities, rather than letting someone else control the situation. Leaving doesn't need to be dramatic, filled with anger, or require long explanations. In fact, the most powerful exits are calm, clear, and decisive. When you step away with grace, it shows you're confident enough to let go without needing to prove anything or seek validation. This quiet strength often leaves a deeper impact than any confrontation could, forcing the other person to face the reality of losing your presence and energy. Leaving doesn't always mean cutting ties forever. It's about creating space for clarity and peace. Sometimes, walking away can prompt the other person to reconsider their behavior and realize they've lost someone of value. If they return with genuine intentions and a willingness to communicate honestly, the situation can shift toward a healthier dynamic. However, if they persist in the same behavior or make no effort to change, it confirms that walking away was the right choice, allowing you to preserve your dignity and emotional well-being. Walking away from a manipulative or toxic situation is a powerful decision that shows you value your self-respect above all else. It sends a clear message that you refuse to settle for anything less than mutual respect and honesty. When you choose to leave, you're reminding yourself that your worth isn't tied to any one person's approval or attention. You're asserting that you deserve relationships that align with your values and support your well-being. By walking away, you're freeing yourself from unhealthy patterns and creating space for more positive and fulfilling connections. It's a statement of self-liberation, where you take control of your life and no longer allow manipulation or disrespect to hold power over you. This act of walking away not only preserves your dignity, but also strengthens your confidence, showing you are capable of maintaining your boundaries and standing up for yourself. Leaving a toxic dynamic isn't about weakness, it's about empowerment. It's a declaration that you're unwilling to compromise your peace for anyone's games. When you take this step, you give yourself the opportunity to attract relationships that respect you, appreciate your time, and add value to your life. It's essential to recognize that your time and energy are valuable, and no one should drain you emotionally. Women who play games may seek control or validation, but how you respond will determine whether you remain in control of your own narrative. By being aware of the signs, staying calm, setting clear boundaries, and walking away when necessary, you protect your peace and demonstrate strength. The power lies in your hands to choose how you engage with people. Never forget that respecting yourself is the foundation for creating meaningful relationships. When you prioritize your own well-being, the right connections will naturally follow. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, and share it with others to help them improve their lives as well.